The bitter taste of betrayal hit me like a freight train when I discovered my wife's affair. It wasn't just the act itself. It was the way it unraveled everything we had built together, brick by fragile brick. 7 years of marriage crumbled faster than a cake left out in the rain. But before I could even begin to process what happened, I found myself consumed by anger, grief, and an overwhelming desire for revenge. It started with small things so subtle that I almost dismissed them as paranoia. She would check her phone under the table during dinner, her fingers moving faster than usual. Or she'd leave for work meetings, wearing clothes that seemed, well, a bit too casual for an office environment. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Maybe she just needed space. But then there were the late nights when she came home smelling like something other than herself. A faint trace of cologne or perfume that wasn't hers. That's when my stomach began to churn. Doubt crept in, gnawing at me like a rat chewing through wires. One night, while she was out on another meeting, I found myself scrolling through her contacts. And that's when I saw him. A name I didn't recognize, but one that made my heart skip a beat. "Who is Alex?" I asked, my voice steady despite the storm brewing inside me. She froze mid-bite, fork hovering over her salad. Her eyes darted around the room before landing back on mine. "It's no one," she stammered. "Just someone from work. Someone you've been texting every day since last month." I pressed, holding up her phone. My hands trembled slightly, though I tried to keep my tone calm. She sighed deeply, setting down her fork. "Okay, fine. He's a coworker. We talk sometimes. Is that such a big deal?" Her nonchalance infuriated me. Talk? Or do more than talk? For a moment, silence hung between us, heavy and suffocating. Then she looked away and I knew. That evening I couldn't sleep. Instead, I sat at our kitchen counter, staring at her phone screen. There they were, the messages. Dozens of them, some flirty, others downright intimate. Photos of them laughing together at lunch, his arm draped casually across her shoulders. Even worse, there was a screenshot of a calendar invite labeled after hours. It felt like someone had punched me in the gut. And then there was the scarf. A soft blue cashmere one tucked into her coat pocket the next morning. Not hers. Definitely not mine. When I confronted her about it later, she admitted everything. Everything. "I'm sorry," she said, tears streaming down her face. But by then, the word meant nothing to me. The days that followed were a blur of anger, sadness, and self-doubt. How could I have missed the signs? Was I really that blind? Or worse, was I simply unlovable? These questions haunted me as I walked through the motions of daily life, feeling hollow and numb. Work became a distraction, but even there, I couldn't shake the image of her laughing with him, their heads bent close together. At night, I lay awake, replaying moments from our marriage. The good ones, the bad ones, the ones where I should have seen this coming. Each memory cut deeper than the last. We weren't perfect, sure. No couple is. But we shared so much. A love for hiking, late-night conversations about life goals, and a mutual dream of someday buying a cabin by the lake. We laughed often, fought occasionally, and always forgave each other. Or at least I thought we did. What happened to us? Had I changed somehow? Did I stop being enough for her? These thoughts consumed me, turning my mind into a labyrinth of regret and confusion. Yet amidst the pain, I clung to the hope that maybe, just maybe, we could fix this. But fixing it wasn't an option. Not after what came next. I showed up at her office building armed with divorce papers and a custom cake. Yes, a cake. On top, in bold white frosting, read, "Congrats on your affair." Beneath it, smaller letters spelled out her name and Alex's. As she emerged from the elevator, colleagues trailing behind her, I handed her the documents. Her face went pale, shock giving way to shame. "You wouldn't dare," she whispered. "Oh, I already have," I replied, stepping aside to let everyone see the cake. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone snapped a photo, which inevitably ended up online. Within hours, the story blew up. Local news outlets picked it up. Strangers weighed in on social media. And suddenly, our private tragedy became public entertainment. As satisfying as it felt in the moment, the aftermath left me hollow. Sure, I'd humiliated her, but at what cost? Now, instead of healing, I was stuck in a legal battle, arguing over assets and memories. Sleepless nights turned into weeks, then months. Therapy helped, but only marginally. Friends rallied around me, offering support, yet none of it filled the void. Eventually, I realized revenge wouldn't heal me. It would only prolong the wound. So, I started focusing on myself. I joined a gym, pushing my body until it burned. I reconnected with old friends and made new ones, finding solace in shared experiences. Slowly, I rebuilt my life piece by piece. Dating again wasn't easy. Trust issues lingered, and I often found myself questioning whether anyone could truly love me. But one day, I met someone who saw past my scars. She listened without judgment, laughed easily, and reminded me what it felt like to hope again. Looking back now, I can see how far I've come. What once felt like the end of the world has become a chapter in my story. One I'll never forget, but one that doesn't define me. Along the way, I learned the importance of boundaries, communication, and self-worth. Most importantly, I learned gratitude, not just for the people who stood by me during my darkest days, but for the resilience within myself. Life moves forward even when it feels like it won't. And sometimes the hardest lessons are the ones that teach us how to grow. So here I am, standing stronger, wiser, and ready to embrace whatever comes next. Because if anything, I know this: love may break, but it can also rebuild. And sometimes starting fresh is the greatest gift of all. But the journey wasn't over yet. Months passed, and the echoes of that fateful day still lingered in my mind. The divorce proceedings dragged on, each hearing reopening wounds I thought had begun to heal. Our lawyers argued over finances, property, and even mementos that once symbolized our love. A painting we bought on our honeymoon, now contested in court, felt like a mockery of happier times. Every decision felt like tearing apart pieces of myself. Meanwhile, the public humiliation continued. Articles about the infamous affair cake incident popped up sporadically, keeping the scandal alive in tabloids and gossip columns. Strangers recognized me in coffee shops, whispering as I walked by. Some offered sympathetic smiles. Others stared with judgmental eyes. It was exhausting, but I refused to let their opinions dictate my recovery. Still, the weight of it all pressed down on me, making simple tasks feel monumental. Grocery shopping became a chore. Cooking meals felt pointless, and even watching TV brought little comfort. The house we once shared now felt cavernous and lonely, its walls echoing with memories of laughter and arguments alike. Through it all, therapy became my anchor. My therapist encouraged me to explore my emotions fully, urging me not to suppress the anger or sadness. "Feel it," she said. "Let it move through you." Those words stuck with me, guiding me through countless sleepless nights. Journaling became a ritual, a safe space to pour out my frustrations and fears. Writing helped me untangle the knot of emotions inside me, allowing me to confront the truth. I was angry, yes, but also deeply hurt. Betrayal cut deeper than any physical wound, leaving scars that time alone couldn't erase. Yet, slowly, I began to understand that forgiveness wasn't about excusing her actions. It was about freeing myself from the chains of bitterness. Physical activity played a crucial role in my healing process as well. Running became my escape, a chance to clear my mind and push my body to its limits. Each step forward felt symbolic, reminding me that I could move beyond this pain. Strength training taught me discipline and perseverance, qualities I applied to rebuilding my life outside the gym. New friendships blossomed unexpectedly, born from shared experiences with others navigating similar challenges. Support groups introduced me to people who understood the complexities of divorce, offering advice and camaraderie when I needed it most. Eventually, I allowed myself to dip my toes back into the dating pool. It was terrifying at first, knowing how vulnerable trust made me. But I took baby steps, going on casual outings with friends of friends, enjoying their company without expectations. Over time, I met someone special, a woman whose warmth and kindness drew me in gradually. She didn't rush me, respecting my need for caution. With her, I rediscovered joy, laughter, and the possibility of love again. Though cautious optimism replaced blind faith, I felt hopeful for the first time in years. Looking back, I realized the experience shaped me in ways I couldn't foresee. I grew stronger, more resilient, and infinitely wiser. Relationships require effort, compromise, and above all, honesty. Without those foundations, even the strongest partnerships can falter. Today, I carry the lessons of my past with me, using them to build a better future. Gratitude fills my heart, not just for the people who supported me, but for the strength I uncovered within myself. Life isn't always fair, and love isn't always easy. But through hardship comes growth, and through growth comes redemption.